Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Accessories. My name is Jay Lakhani. I am the chairman of the Accessories Innovation Committee, part of the Accessories Council. Super excited to have a fun guest on board today. We've got a New York City-based photographer that's going to give us a little insight into how photography works, what's behind the lens. We're excited to host Andrew Werner today. He's got an amazing brand as well. He is the founder of Fleur'd Pins, and we are super thrilled to have him on today. We're just waiting for some more guests to join, so we'll get this conversation going. Once again, my name is Jay Lakhani, and I am the chairman of the Accessories Innovation Committee, a division part of the Accessories Council where we mentor young brands and we mentor young businesses. So if you guys have any questions or need any help when it comes to branding or certain opportunities in business or certain questions that where you need mentoring, please join part of the Accessories Council. It's a division part of the Accessories Council. We're excited to keep this conversation going. Every Wednesday at 12, we've got Let's Talk Accessories. We're on today with Andrew Werner, a fashion lifestyle photographer based in New York City, and we're super thrilled to have him on board. Andrew, as soon as you get on, let's get the conversation rolling. My name is Jay Lakhani. I am the chairman of the Accessories Innovation Committee. Super thrilled to have this fantastic guest on board today. There we go. We've got a request from Andrew. Let's get him on board. From Fleur'd Pins and a fashion accessories lifestyle photographer based in New York City. Thank you guys for joining. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Hey, good. Good afternoon.
Afternoon at Cinco de Mayo. I know. Perfect guest for Cinco. Where's your sombrero? Where's that hat you promised me?
Nothing visual, but I can't promise it's only coffee in here.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's keep that
We have to celebrate.
Let's get to that later on. Let's keep this conversation going. How have you been?
I've been great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me today. We're super excited to have you on board. Just to start diving into the questions, let's tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you began your journey as a photographer and as a designer.
Sure. So my name is Andrew Werner. I am a New York City-based photographer. And, you know, it's funny when people say, what's your specialty? My specialty is photography, or people with budgets. You know, it varies. I started in college going for musical theater, couldn't dance to save my life. So I picked up a camera, and then through that, got to try out different things. Then when I moved home, I started in nightlife. So I really started in events, and that organically snowballed into product shots and jewelry and handbags and lifestyle and fashion week. And, you know, it just grows. And when you work with good people and people who have the same drive and can match your energy and match your passion for whatever it may be, you know, it just amplifies your message and your job and makes you want to keep going. So I've had the ability to work with some of the most premier brands, designers in the world, internationally, like all over.
We've seen your work in Harper's, Vogue, Forbes, New York Times, you name it, we've seen it. So we're super thrilled to have you on here.
Thank you. But, you know, it's also going back to my roots and working with up-and-coming brands and working with up-and-coming designers, whatever product they're coming up with, whether it's a pair of earrings or a handbag. And it's helping them, because if it wasn't for the people who helped me and gave me guidance, I wouldn't be where I am today. So
you're kind of paying it forward in your business.
Always.
Fantastic,
always.
Fantastic model to have. And then, so how did you become this designer now? How did you get into Fleur'd Pins? Let's talk about that.
That, you know, growing up, my family had a clothing store on Long Island, which featured, it was called the Annex Shop in the Great Neck Department Store for anyone who's in the area or went to camp in the Long Island tri-state area and got their camp outfits. So having that, a basis in fashion, and then growing up, being in blazers, being in kind of preppy outfits, having unlimited pairs of chinos, you know, I always felt very comfortable and found my uniform, more or less, was a blazer or slacks or jeans or something a little bit more elevated. That's how I felt, very comfortable. So to accessorize that, most people didn't have the ability to have lots and lots and lots of suits and blazers, but there was a way to, you know, accessorize it and have something that you could interchange. So fast forward to, I was shooting an event for Manhattan Magazine, I believe, or FIT at Cipriani, honoring Linda Fargo from Bergdorf Goodman, who's an icon in the industry. I wanted to wear something to stand out, just like she would want. And, you know, I couldn't find anything on the market that I liked. So I went to Michael's craft store, got some burlap, spray painted it red and plopped it on. photographed her, congratulated her. She's like, "Oh, I like your lapel flower. Where's it from?" I was like, "Oh, I made it. I didn't know you made lapel flowers." And that was the birth. And then the
Wow.
name more or less came from people saying, "Oh, Andrew, you floor me." I'm like, "You've been floored. You've been floored." Sounds like a flower, and it just happens. It's one of those happenstance. So
It's such a great story. I mean, honestly, when people start off brands, they just don't, they don't realize that a name is so important. It's that brand identity and that whole
it
concept. There has
is.
to be a story behind it.
It is. And also the brand story. I have a few friends that I really look up to who are in the fashion industry, who are what you call dandies. When they walk into a room, it could be a ton of different colors or it could be just one streamlined silhouette, but it's striking. And I wanted to emulate that in my lapel flower line, Fleur'd Pins, by giving initially created for men for black tie and red carpets to stand out from what I've called a sea of tuxedos.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to set yourself apart when the attire can be very similar or elevate or, add a pop of personality. It's really important to do that with everything you wear to enjoy it.
Listening to you, I feel like I need to get my hand on one of these
I think
amazing
you
pins.
do.
Like,
I know the
that's
designer. I'll hook you up.
my next purchase. I'm going to be like, Andrew, I need help now for the next ACE Awards. So how did you become affiliated with the Accessories Council?
So, being in the fashion industry as both an up and coming designer a few years ago, as well as being a photographer, everyone knows about the Accessory Council. It is sort of like fashion has CFDA and all those iconic, organizations. The
Yes.
accessory arena has the Accessory Council. So if you are an aspiring or well-known accessory designer, you want to be part of this.
This is our
And
home base.
it really is. It is the go-to. It is the beacon for accessories in the
I
world.
agree.
And I think I came into contact with them at an event or introductions because word of mouth is everything, especially in New York. I had the pleasure of meeting Karen and Lena, and
The two most fabulous people that I know.
they really are, and we hit it off. And I mean, prior to that, I was working with a company called the Accessory Think Tank, which helped me learn more about sourcing because all of my stuff is handcrafted in New York City. I
Yeah,
get all my fabrics in the garment district and the surrounding areas. So I really try to bring it back to a made in New York City approach for this line.
which is fantastic. And how many, I mean, just jumping off to, how many collections do you do when it comes to, is it collection based? Is it item based?
You know, every designer has a different approach to that. Mine is evergreen, to bring it back to the whole flower kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's evergreen. So I have a few core collections with core colors that are good for all year round. They're seasonless. And then every so often I'll introduce a fashion collection like a few seasons ago. I did neon, which was a really big hit. I've done a few one-offs for around the PGA Tour. I made a ranunculus out of um,
Wow.
dotted leather that looked like a golf ball. I made a champion carnation made out of the same material as the tennis ball for the US Open. I've made cherry blossoms for that season, and I do a lot of custom orders because these flowers are perfect for weddings. They make a fantastic wedding gift for your wedding party, for the groomsmen gift, because it also doubles as the boutonniere. And lately, I've been in flooded with custom orders. So it's
Fantastic.
always something good.
No, people want something special and they're looking for something so innovative and creative and also different. Everyone wants to stand out. Are you wearing one of your pieces right now?
I am. This piece actually is very important to me. This I created a few years ago when everyone was wearing white roses to the Grammys, I believe.
Yeah,
And
I
my
remember that.
friend Justin Tranter reached out to me, who's big in the music industry, and wanted a white rose because I would like my pieces to be legacy pieces, to hand down to generations. So you can say, I got this in my bar mitzvah. I got this for my communion. I got this for my wedding. And you could hand it down to the next generation as something that they hold important.
It's special.
Um, yes, I want it to be a special piece. So
So I know you did touch up on this a little bit, but when it comes to this process and this product, why do we need this? Why do we need this? Why do men need this in the market?
I would certainly say that men need more accessories because,
I
you know,
agree.
our female counterparts have the ability to wear color, wear texture, wear pattern, wear things, and really play with fashion. But looking back in the past, I feel like men have, touch and go. When I do trunk shows or I'm in a store that sells my pieces and a woman is buying for a man or a man's buying for another man or gifting for the hostess, whatever it may be. And they're
Yeah.
like, they wouldn't wear that. I said, they would. Men wear jewelry. Does he wear a watch? Does he wear anything with a metal tone? Because that's a really good way to play into it and test the waters with feeling comfortable with accessories, but looking forward and seeing how trends are evolving, especially in this industry with color and pattern and silhouettes and cuts and everything. I'm hoping to see more men feel comfortable wearing something as beautiful and as natural as a flower, but it emulates masculinity. It emulates confidence, because who doesn't like compliments? And wearing one of these, I guarantee you get some compliments.
I've seen you in action at Jones Ship when we both were doing a trunk show, and
Yep.
especially if people were hesitant and you made them try it on, they loved it. It was like love at first sight.
Yes, and that is what I'm finding, especially with my brand, that if you ask someone or question them very innocently, why wouldn't he wear it?
Yeah.
Are you and the other thing is that, I think sets my brand apart from many others who do make boutonnieres or accoutrements is the fact that I have such an array of colors. So a great story with this is I was shooting an event for the American Friends of Blarencourt, and it was honoring Rita Wilson, and Tom Hanks was there.
Wow.
And Rita was wearing this stunning red silk gown, and I was wearing a beautiful red flower, wearing this flower in red. And she goes, I love that. Tom would love it. I go, yeah? And I put it on him. Looking at the photos, it perfectly tied their fashion story together.
Wow.
He was in a red flower that complemented her red dress. So whether you're wearing a gown or a denim jacket or a deconstructed blazer, it doesn't have to be for black tie. It doesn't have to be for formal events. And that's really where I like to tell the story of, just add a little something extra.
You just got to be at the right place at the right time and just stick it on whoever you can. That's how you market. So coming back to now, I have a question from the audience. Actually,
Yes.
how was it photographing Laverne Cox for the Oscars? That's huge.
Oh my God.
For the Oscars.
It was an honor. I've known Laverne Cox for over 10 years, back before we both had careers that were known by more people. And when her team reached out and they mentioned that Christian Siriano was dressing her in this gorgeous piece,
wow.
I said, count me in, because when you put those kind of creatives together, there's no way you could have anything other than something that's exceptional. And it was an honor for them to ask me to photograph it. And working with her team, between the hair and the makeup, which were so fantastic, we build a story together. And the photos yield how much joy was in those moments. So it was really a great experience. If you guys haven't seen, check out, it was originally for, who's it for? It was for a magazine, but it got picked up all the way to British Vogue. So.
Oh, wow. And what is your social media handle, your personal one?
Of course. My social media handle is at Andrew Werner. I also have my line of accessories at Fleur'd Pins. Okay, so and then if you're checking that out, I also have a project that I'm releasing called Places Without Faces series that features work that I did during the initial phases of New York being on pause, of New York City devoid of people. So
wow,
it's to honor New York, to honor New York.
Fantastic. We do love our New York. I have to say, New York is right here in front of us. So how are you marketing yourself these days for the brand, for yourself, photography, when it comes to, design, when it comes to your own brand? What's working these days? So you can help our audience over here in terms of get that
Absolutely.
insight.
So personal branding is extremely important, no matter who you are, what you do. I have found that, going back to my comfort level, I am more than likely in a blazer or a suit or a collared shirt, which I can easily put a flower on. But it's just how I feel comfortable. So I've been known that if you see even a silhouette of me or a sketch or something behind the scenes really quickly, if it's in a blazer with a lapel flower, it's me. So branding your story and branding your product and branding yourself is very important for your marketing, but also being open to the different outlets, whether it's using social media for business or it's using different avenues to promote yourself as the product or your product itself. So it's important to definitely stay up to date with the current trends, but still maintaining the truth behind your brand, whatever it is. If you don't feel like something is right for your brand, or a company that you brought on or a third party is saying, no, do this, and it doesn't click with you,
True.
you don't have to do it. That's why there are so many different brands and so many different t-shirt companies and suiting companies and dresses and handbags, because everyone brings their own story to the table, how they
Awesome.
want to express themselves. And more often than not, it resonates with different people, which is why we have so many department stores and designers.
Such great advice. I completely agree. Turning to the photography angle now, going behind the lens over here, how important is it for brands to focus on good content? You've been a
Oh,
photographer first, then obviously started a brand. Let's talk about content here.
okay. So
This can
brands
go
that
on
are
for hours,
listening,
but we're not going to go on for hours. We're going to
I will
lay
keep
it
this
down.
short and sweet. Dear brands, the power of good photography will set you apart. I know that in the past 5 to 10 years, it's been a push for who can create the most content and push it out. While that is important, it's about having quality content that tells your story and resonates with your audience.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you are a small business. I don't care if you're a multi-million-dollar business. Whatever is in your budget, use it to create the best possible content. There have been many times, because again, my work ranges from events to still life to lifestyle. I've had huge companies that have said, oh no, we'll have an intern do it.
No.
I'm sorry, an intern take pictures. I'm sorry about photography.
Yeah.
And if you're investing even $1 into an event, you're going to need those photos to sell it, or document it, or use to pitch or something.
True.
Why would you risk that? I also relate it back to when I shoot for different hotels and restaurants. If my photo of this dish does not make your mouth water, I didn't do my job. And you have to have that same like approach to photography. There have been so many places they're like, we can't afford you. I said, okay, well, what is your budget? And you talk to people, you
Yeah.
communicate, because if someone cannot see what kind of leather or what kind of material, or see how shiny the crystal is, or get a feel for your accessory, your bag, your hat, your scarf, your flower, whatever it may be, they're not going to buy it.
I
And if
agree.
they don't buy it, you do not stay in business. So I've been on many groups and panels, and even listening to panels, because I love to stay up to date with what's
Yeah.
going on in the industry. And I've heard so many people say, oh, just do it in house with someone who's learning. No, don't.
You don't want to risk that.
Don't. And I'm not saying just because I like staying in business, but I love what I do. Photography is a business, and you need to get the best you can afford at that time. And you need to listen to people.
True.
Case in point, we are not experts at everything. I use that as a strength rather than a weakness.
Yeah.
I am not the best writer. So whenever I'm being interviewed or talking with people, I outsource and have someone look over my stuff. We
Fantastic.
can't be good at everything. So find someone who fits your budget, who fits your goal, and fits your brand identity to shoot it for you. But do not slack on one of the most important things, especially right now where some stores aren't open and everything's online. For your line sheets, you want the best you can afford. And my email will be available and my website is available. So please reach out to me.
We
And
should.
also, if anyone has questions along the way, please DM
Absolutely.
me, reach out. I'm happy to talk with people.
Andrew is one of the nicest people in the industry, so he's not going to shy away from talking to you. You just have to ask. It's all I ask you to ask. If you
And
won't
that's
ask, you won't know.
and that's another thing. Ask questions. If you do not know something, ask. That's how I got started, really. I met Nancy Foreman when I was shooting an event for LIM. And I
Fantastic.
went up to her. She's from the Accessory Think Tank. And I said, I like you. I want to work with you. She brought me on to shoot for so many of her clients
So
with
great.
handbags and everything. So it's networking, it's being genuine, it's being authentic, and it's staying true to yourself and your goals for your brand.
Fantastic. I couldn't disagree on anything that you've said. Now, working with so many brands, how can we make your life a little bit easier when it comes to photography? Any tips that brands can follow? What do we do when we want to get something photographed? Like what direction? What do you think we should ask you guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. I welcome any kind of questions. When looking for a photographer, you want to make sure that, it's selling or marketing or, documenting
Yeah.
whatever the product is, how you want it. Again, there's so many different approaches to it. So make sure that you have your line sheets, make sure you have your lifestyle, make sure that people know how to use your product. And it's the best you can do at that point. And
Great.
keep growing. I mean, video content is very important, but at the end of the day, stills are what's used for line sheets. Make sure you exemplify the qualities that set your brand and your product apart, too. People want to know why they're buying it. People want to know why they are spending money. Maybe your brand is not heard of by everyone in the world yet. So
Yes.
show what sets it apart. Document that.
I completely agree. And what are your thoughts on collaborations in the industry?
That is something that is changing and blowing my mind every single day. I don't remember the two very major brands just did a partnership, and I was like, huh? It's interesting. It's interesting, and I welcome it. I like to see how creative forces join to create something new and create
Yeah.
something beautiful. I love seeing partnerships between different designers, between different lifestyles, between everything, and I welcome it. As long as, it's reflecting each of their brands' ideals and what they stand for. But yeah, I think partnerships are really cool. I'd love to see more menswear and women's wear crossovers,
Sure.
accessories, things that push the boundaries. That's what fashion is fun. Fashion and dressing and presenting yourself to the world is meant to be fun. So whether it's you wearing a designer you wouldn't normally or you wearing a color, baby steps, and we can all do it.
Are you wearing a pin? Why not? Push the pins, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If there was one thing you would have done differently, when you first started, what would it have been? What advice can you give our audience here?
That's a very good question. And what I would do differently, um, is before launching, or not me, maybe not me personally, but I would say doing more research before you do everything. Find out what the void is in the marketplace. Find out why your brand is needed. Who are your contemporaries who are doing something similar to you? Who is your target audience? Finding out all this research before jumping in, because budgets are always important. And working with a finite amount of money can play a big factor into the growth and even lifestyle of your brand. So making sure you do your research, you spend you get the most out of every dollar, and knowing that you can set yourself up for success by having the information going in from the get-go and having an infrastructure.
True.
Um, I was very fortunate. I linked up very early on with teams that gave me guidance, that helped me, and planned out my SWOT analysis. And again, this goes back to not the whole glamorous side of being in fashion and beauty and photography, but it's needed because at the end of the day, while I do enjoy making all these things and shooting fun events, it goes back to the infrastructure that we all need to have to be successful.
Agreed. Completely
So,
agree. Such great advice for our audience. For those tuning in, we're with Andrew Werner today, having an amazing conversation with on our live weekly show, Let's Talk Accessories. My name is Jay Lakhani. I am the chairman of the Accessories Innovation Committee. Thank you guys so much for joining. Andrew, what's next for you? Can you share any fun things in the pipeline?
what's next? Working on my series, Places Without Faces, right now. So that's really exciting. Helping a few friends in the industry with their next steps in their projects with books and everything that features my photography. New lapel flowers hopefully coming out soon as we all go into hopefully some kind of fashion renaissance when we can all be out and about and
It's gonna happen.
celebrate.
It has to happen. It's gonna
I'm waiting
happen.
for it.
We're all waiting for it. It's gonna be the roaring 20s again, where we're all
Uh,
just dressing up and not in our sweats anymore, and just everything from bottom down is also looking good as top up.
I agree. And
Enough
just
of these.
celebrating style and each other and collaborations and being part of this industry that gives so much to people who need to express themselves visually. So definitely stay tuned to Fleur'd Pins. Definitely stay tuned to my photography. And please
What
know,
is your website? Can you please say it again?
of course, it is andrewwernerphotography.com as well as,
Werner, guys.
that's
Andrew
right.
Werner.
And then Fleur'd Pins. And they make great gifts. You have Mother's Day coming up. I welcome everyone to wear my pins, even though they were designed initially for men, but so many women steal them from the guys
It's
because they
for
look so
everybody.
good.
It's for
And
everybody.
it's for everybody. Looking
Fantastic.
good is for everybody.
I
So,
agree. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the
of
opportunity, and I
course.
hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I look
Take
to
care,
see you soon.
Andrew.
Bye.
Bye. So for those of you who have tuned in to our fantastic show that we have every week on Wednesdays at 12, Let's Talk Accessories, thank you so much. If you want to get more information in terms of joining the Accessories Council, please visit www.accessoriescouncil.org. My name is Jay Lakhani. I'm the chairman of the Accessories Innovation Committee, and I thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.